Bowser's Fury, the new mode included with the Switch re-release of Super Mario 3D World, combines the gameplay of Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario Odyssey into a brand new open-world Mario title. The game may seem daunting at first, but fear not, fellow explorers, as I have some tips you may find useful before starting your adventure on Lake Lapcat. If you'd like to see more Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury content, then consider subscribing and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see. Anyways, as a certain Italian plumber would say, let's go! Looking for more shines? Leave an area and come back. Every major island has 5 shines to collect, and once you get one, you might not know where to start searching for the others. You might even look all around the island and not find another shine. But if you leave an island's proximity and then come back, it should refresh the island and spawn a new shine, as well as give you a new shine objective. Normally this amounts to walking out of the cat gate and walking back in, but if that doesn't work, then you can tell if you're outside of the island's proximity if the music changes, since each island has a tune. This also applies to cat shines split into 5 pieces, as some islands expand and change the more shines you get, and some of those pieces are hiding in future versions of the island. Don't forget to get the power-ups on the towers. Every time you collect a shine, you'll get a little scene where the shine flies up to the tower and the tower begins to shine. What you might not know is that the top of the tower has a little sparkling area you could ground pound to get a power-up. The nice thing about Bowser's Fury is that you could bank power-ups, 5 of each, so it's not like 3D World where you only get one you have equipped and a backup. Each time you get a shine, the tower lights up again and you can get another power-up, but they do not stack. For example, if you neglect to ground pound the top of the tower until you've gotten 4 of the 5 shines, then you'll only get 1 power-up. Once you get all 5 cat shines, a flag will sprout on top of the tower and you won't be able to get any power-ups. Power-ups are abundant, so you don't really have to worry about this, but it's nice to have the cards stacked in your favor early on. Not ready to fight Fury Bowser? No problem. Every couple of minutes, Fury Bowser decides to rear his ugly head, and you may not want to fight him just yet if you've collected the necessary amount of shines to do so. Good news is, you don't have to. To make Fury Bowser go away, you can collect any shine on the island, or after a while, he just decides to leave anyways. There really isn't a downside either way. Fighting and defeating Fury Bowser opens more areas on the island, but waiting and collecting more shines each time he appears can deplete his health to make the battle ahead a little easier. You can't deplete his health all the way before confronting him though, so be careful not to abuse this, or he'll get even more furious. Having trouble fighting Fury Bowser? Look for the bells. You might notice during the Fury Bowser fight that you no longer have access to your item bank. And yes, you can get hit and go back to regular Mario and even Little Mario, just giant variants of those two. So what can you do? It might be hard to spot, but if you go back to any of the Cat Bell locations, they've now turned into bells you can use to go back into Super Saiyan Cat Mario form.
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
They don't always respawn immediately, but they do respawn, so don't worry if you lose the cat suit again. The Bowser amiibo is actually helpful? Amiibo are pretty hit or miss when it comes to functionality within games, even if the figurines are usually cool. But surprisingly, the Bowser amiibo is helpful in Bowser's Fury. Let me break it down. Every island has these steel boxes with Bowser's face on them. How do you break them? Fury Bowser has to blow fire on them when he's after you, and when they break, it reveals a shine inside. Now, without the amiibo, you can approach this one of 2 ways. You could stand there and wait for Fury Bowser to show up, or you can head straight there as the rain starts to fall and hope you get there in time. What the Bowser amiibo does is automatically spawn Fury Bowser. Yes, you heard that right. So now you can get to the boxes, tap the amiibo, have Fury Bowser open the boxes, then get the shine and have Fury Bowser go away. It's true that the amiibo only works once per shine, but if you summon Fury Bowser, get him to open the boxes, and then collect the shine, that counts as 1, so you can go from location to location and do this one after another if you wanted. No waiting for maximum efficiency. Don't forget about Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. is a very set it and forget it character if you're playing single player. You can choose to have him help a little, a lot, or not at all. This amounts to Bowser Jr. grabbing coins or hitting enemies off to the side, so he's pretty easy to forget. But if you ever come across these little question marks on the wall, you have to hit R, then use the gyro to send Bowser Jr. to paint over them. Sometimes it reveals just a power-up, but sometimes it's a gold pipe that leads to a bunch of coins. Admittedly, coins aren't super useful in this game. Get 100 and you get another power-up, and if you die, then you lose 50 coins, which is similar to the system in Super Mario Odyssey. But hey, the more power-ups the better, right? Sometimes 100 coins will even lead to a superstar.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
You can actually play Bowser's Fury with 2 players, and player 2 controls Bowser Jr. So if that's you, then you could throw this tip right out the window while making sure your player 2 isn't screwing around, making your life more difficult. Don't worry about dying. Jumping off an earlier point I just mentioned, dying in this game is not a big deal. There are no lives to collect, and you can die as many times as you want. The system works exactly like Odyssey. You die, and you lose coins. You only lose 50 coins at a time, so thankfully if you're working towards a new power-up, you won't lose everything. But otherwise, there's no penalty, which gives you the freedom to explore the world and experiment with things. Also, don't worry about getting all the shines before the end. If you're like me, you probably want to get all the shines before heading into the final battle, but you also might have noticed that the game doesn't clue you into where the remaining shines are or how many are left. Fear not, my fellow completionists, once you do finish the final battle, Bowser Jr. will let you know how many are left and where the rest are on the map. There are also some shines that can only become accessible once you finish the final fight, so it's impossible to get everything beforehand anyways. That's not to say you should only get the necessary amount and move on. There are some benefits to having extra cat shines in the bank. But maybe don't save the hardest ones for last. As you progress through the game, Fury Bowser will show up a little more frequently than before. For example, if you have 48 shines but the Giga Bell unlocks at 50, then Fury Bowser will show up even more than normal. But even if you do have extra shines, Fury Bowser will still show up a little more frequently than before as the game progresses and you unlock more islands. For this reason, I recommend not saving some of the trickier ones for last, as it can become an even bigger challenge. Ones that require precise platforming while also avoiding Fury Bowser's fiery blast can be a bit of a headache, unless you're into that sort of thing. And that, my friends, is where the tips come to an end. Bowser's Fury is a relatively short journey, and I hope these tips help you along the way. If you like this video, then consider clicking the like button, and if you have any further questions about Bowser's Fury or even Super Mario 3D World, then feel free to drop a comment below and I'll try to respond as best as I can. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned to GameSpot for all the latest on Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.